Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. My name is Nick.
Amine.
And today we're going to talk about some of our favorite band or censored album covers. I know there's quite a few over the years, so we're going to touch on a couple of our favorites. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click on the link down below and go check out the Vinyl Den Facebook group. You know, it's just a growing community where we continue the music conversation. There's also a couple of links down there. One's for the Vinyl Den merch page if you want one of these cool Vinyl Den t-shirts. There's also sweatshirts on there. There's also a link down there for the Vinyl Den Patreon page if you want to support the show. It's always greatly appreciated. If you enjoy the episode, make sure you give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we release new episodes, right?
Yes.
And also drop a comment and let us know what your favorite band or censored album covers are. So the first one I've got up is one that it's actually somewhat of a more recent album. It's from 2010. This is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. It's actually one of my favorite Kanye albums. It's an absolutely great album. I know Ian is not a fan of Kanye, but this is the artwork that's on the front of it is one that I think on all the reissues, I have a copy of this somewhere. But on the album, they've got different inserts you can put in there. And the one they sell, I think after, so this one was the first cover that came out. And then there was like a pixelated version of that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with this album cover.
I think there's a lot worse things out there.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was a label issue or what was the reason.
It's abstract enough to be just like natural art. This isn't any worse than what you would see in an art museum. Yeah, in my opinion. The
next one is one that I think is definitely more shocking for when it was released. And this is from 1968. I think is when it was released, right? Is that when? This is two versions by John and Yoko. Obviously, this album artwork. I mean, I'll put a picture up. I'll blur it out. But I think when it was originally released, it was released in with a brown cardboard sleeve over it, where all you could see was just their face. Mm-hmm. Because obviously, as you can see, it's a little bit more risque than Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is for sure.
So the next one's an obvious one. Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, the original album cover, depicted a rape scene.
Actually, the picture of that was that artwork was actually titled Appetite for Destruction, which is where they got the
name of the album.
The name of the album from.
This one I kind of totally get why it was at least. I don't know if it was banned or just censored.
It was initially released with the rape scene cover. It was actually in print in the UK longer than it was in the US. That's why US copies are a lot harder to come by than UK presses. I have a UK copy of it, but it was just, I think, more so because the label thought that with that sitting in the front window that it wouldn't sell.
Right.
Which, they might have been.
And, granted, this album came out in 1987. Mm-hmm. With hindsight, it's a rather insensitive album cover.
Yeah.
By today's standards, it would most definitely be banned. And most likely no one would even consider it.
Yeah. Speaking of insensitive album covers, the next one I had never heard of before. This is The Coup. This is an album from November of 2001. And I say the month because it's in particular bad taste because of when it was released. So this album, obviously, I'll put a picture of the screen here. The album artwork is done prior to September 11th, 2001. Yeah. And obviously after the September 11th terrorist attacks, the band or the group, whoever they are, I've never heard of them before, obviously changed the image of the album. Yeah,
because it's a relatively prophetic type image.
I'll put a picture on the screen though, so they can see. Obviously,
we don't want to go into detail about it. You'll be able to see it.
Yeah. This is actually one. The next one is one that I've actually been looking for a while. This is Electric Ladyland by Jimi Hendrix. This was released in 1968. I'll black out the images and put it up on the screen here. It's a really interesting album cover. I didn't think it was actually all that bad for 1968, though. I've seen other albums from that era that I would think would be a worse album cover. Yeah. I don't think this was actually I'm not sure if this was the original album artwork or this was like an alternate album artwork. So if somebody knows out there, you can drop me a comment and let me know. But
just shows a lot of topless women.
Yeah, I'll have the picture on there. I have the more traditional cover that everyone knows for this. So I would like to track down a copy of that older the other artwork. So the next one's kind of an interesting one, in that because this was released in 1984. And when I put a picture up on the screen, you're going to think, well, why exactly is that even an issue? So this is Roger Waters, The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, which was actually one of the ideas that Roger Waters pitched to his band Pink Floyd when they were before they started working on The Wall.
Okay.
It was either this idea or the idea for The Wall. Those are the two concepts that he kind of gave them. And they ended up going for The Wall, which I think was probably the right pick for the band. Even though Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking is a good album. I believe it was only censored in the U.S., I believe. I might be incorrect on that, but I believe that's...
Because even for 1984, it's relatively tame.
It really is. It's just a bottomless woman. You know, you just see her butt and that's it. But it's... I don't know. It's a really good album, but I don't really... The album cover, I mean, it really doesn't matter to me one way or another, really.
Right. The next one is Blind Faith. The album Blind Faith, it's self-titled, from 1969. I totally get why this is
absolutely
banned.
This when I say the Electric Ladyland cover is not risque, because this one kind of is.
Well,
so
mainly because it depicts what I don't even know, but
she looks young.
She looks too young to be topless, photographed topless to me. And it even says in this little article, it says specifically over the topless pubescent girl who graced the cover. So they're saying that she's underage.
Yeah.
So I totally understand why this was banned and should have been banned. And I don't even know why they would even have allowed them to go that far. Who took that picture?
And the funny thing is, like, I've seen this album in stores multiple times, and it was actually the U.S. label that changed the album artwork. So I'm assuming that all the U.S. pressings have it's just like a black and white photo of the band. On it.
Right.
So it must be all the UK pressings
that
have the original.
I've
cover.
seen, yeah, but it's a very famous cover. When you put it
I'll put a picture up, and I've seen this.
We've all seen it.
I've seen it just recently.
I don't know anything about the album. I don't think I've ever heard a Blind Faith song.
Yeah, but I know the album.
I know that cover. Yeah, and it's totally inappropriate. So the next one is the original album cover for "Slippery When Wet" by Bon Jovi. This one I don't get at all because it's the '80s. It's a girl.
I'll put a picture up on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, she's not topless. She's just got like a ripped shirt. It's kind of like what you'd imagine the aerobics girls.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I get from the picture. I mean, the picture is focusing more on her chesticle area.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea for the title of the album came from a gentleman's club in California. Not in California, sorry, in Canada. So that's kind of, I think, where the idea of the original album artwork came from. I believe the original album artwork was only released in Japan, though. Yeah. At least it's only Japanese pressings I've ever seen of that. I actually prefer the more traditional album artwork for it.
But it's one of those situations where maybe just we're accustomed to it.
Possibly.
Because, I mean, I actually think I agree. I think the traditional album cover really fits the music better.
I think so.
Because looking at it, but then again, that could just be my perception of it.
Possibly.
But I still don't understand why it was banned. I mean, there's nothing inappropriate about it at all.
No,
especially for the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one is one I did a whole episode on, and that's the Beatles Butcher cover. This is actually, it's not really Butcher cover. It's the Beatles Yesterday and Today. It was released in 1966. The original artwork was a very strange photo of the Beatles with, I'll put a picture up, sitting around with a bunch of slabs of meat and doll parts, which I've got a bootleg of it, which I'll never own an original copy of that because they're super expensive. But everyone was there was such an outrage about the original release that the funny thing was the label took all the original artwork, all the album covers, and just pasted the more mundane version, which is the Beatles just sitting around on a trunk, or sitting around trunks, I think is what they're sitting on, right?
It's one trunk.
One trunk.
It looks like...
So they pasted that over top of the original Butcher cover. These things are pretty, I mean, they're not super hard to find. You can, I know people, or I've heard stories of people that have found, 4 or 5 of them in like yard sales because people didn't even know what they had.
Right.
But it's definitely one that I would love to get my hands on. But it's like I said, it's a very interesting. I don't even know why they even would create an album cover really like that.
Right, and I mean, was it for the? Do you know if it was for the U.S. audience that they censored it?
No, it was before it even went out.
Because we're talking 1966. Hammer films horror films were way gorier and disturbing than this.
Yeah, but I think it was more so because I know that a lot of the early copies were sound like the Beatles fan clubs, which are like little teeny boppers in the in the 60s. So I can kind of see maybe where parents were already having an issue with the Beatles music as it was
because of their rock and or roll.
Yeah, but now they're sitting around with doll parts and slabs of meat. It's definitely a strange album cover.
Yeah, by today's standards, that's very very tame.
The next one I have is one it's an album that I absolutely loved when I was a kid.
Me too.
Released in 1988. This is Open Up and Say Ah by Poison. I don't even think I really realized at the time that this was an edited copy, because when I had it on cassette originally, it was just the eyes with a black bar on top and bottom. And I want to say it was later, I'm sure it was probably within the first year or two of it being released, when I saw the full picture of the demon's head and the long tongue. And I think that 1988, it's like you said, there were worse movies and things.
Right.
Being
Well,
at
the
time,
80s had that satanic panic thing going on. So,
which I'm sure definitely played in that, because it's a demon. It's actually kind of tame, I think. I think it's really interesting that they would even edit it out.
If you think about it, I actually think the eyes are creepier.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Than
the full picture.
Than the full picture.
Yeah.
But,
it's an album I still love, but
yeah, I had the cassette as well. So yeah, for me it was I actually was probably well into my 20s before I saw the original cover.
What was the next one you had on there, Ian?
Alice Cooper's "Love It to Death."
Which this is one I don't think you even realized was edited until recently.
Yeah, and it's like an airbrush situation, but it's a picture of the band, and obviously we'll have it up. But the way Alice is holding his hand, his thumb is sticking out.
It looks rather phallic.
It looks like it could be. It's obvious it's not, but it's not.
It was very
very suggestive, and Alice was already pushing boundaries as far as parental acceptance goes.
So his thumb was airbrushed out, and that's I don't think I've ever seen a copy of the original artwork. And to be completely honest, if I have seen it, I probably haven't even noticed it.
I wouldn't have noticed it either,
no,
to be honest with you.
Because Ian's a huge Alice Cooper fan, and I didn't
even know about it
until just recently. You
it was very recently, within like the last 6 months.
Yeah,
that I found out about it.
So for my last one is probably the most notorious censored album cover in music history. It's from 1977. It's from the Scorpions, and it is Virgin Killer. I will put up, there's actually a censored photo I found online. I will put that on the screen we don't get kicked off of YouTube.
Right.
I'm not sure what would possess the band. I know I've read an interview with the guy that actually took the photo, and the girl in the photo is his daughter. It was supposed to be like a kind of artsy kind of thing.
To me, that doesn't make it better.
It does not make it better. It's just an all-around terrible album cover.
Because she's like creepy.
She's young. She is very young. I want to say she was 10 or 11. I don't remember the exact age on there, but she's very young. I've never actually listened to this album.
Me neither.
And I think the album cover would stop me from listening to this album.
This was the album. If I was going at the store, and even if I was like, "Oh, Scorpions are pretty cool," I saw this album cover. No way.
But then again, I might look at that album cover and be so disgusted by it that I might actually buy it to listen to. So I don't know. Well, that's all we got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Drop us a comment down below and let us know what some of your favorite band or censored album covers are, or let us know about any of the ones we talked about today. Because I always look forward to the conversation, right?
Right.
And Ian does not look forward to the conversation because Ian doesn't partake in the conversation.
I do sometimes.
Sometimes. When I call Ian out, he does. But
or no, sometimes I'm scrolling through and I'll see something and be like, ooh.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'll dose. But I'm not.
If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give us the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell also. And go check out all those links down below. Right?
Right.
Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Keep on spinning. Peace.